Book 101 review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He's a leadership management development, no other than Mr. Ron Reich.
Hello, Daniel.
Welcome.
Nice to be here.
Yes, welcome to Book 101, Mr. Ron. And can you please introduce more about yourself?
Sure. Like I said, I have been working in leadership and management development for the past 32 years, and it has been just an amazing journey. I'm passionate about what I do, and essentially, Daniel, to put it in a real short nutshell, I help small to mid-sized companies. Uh, I help people within small to mid-sized companies do their jobs more effectively through education, training, and coaching. Most of it is from a leadership perspective. I will work with people at all different levels. And that's what I've been doing for, like I said, over the past 3 decades. And I have so much fun with it. There are times I still smile to myself and I was like, man, I get paid to do this. This is great.
Mr. Ron Reich, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge to the world. So let's talk about leadership key principles or what the key traits of a leader. What does a leader or leadership mean to you today's world?
I think leadership itself means so many different things. I also believe that leadership is not necessarily a title. It's about behavior, and we lead ourselves every single day. And so I believe strongly every single person is a leader, which will kind of lead me, with no pun intended with the word, which kind of takes me into, you asked about the traits, Daniel. And for me, some of the most important things that a leader needs to know or needs to be able to do, they need to know themselves extremely well. In order to be able to lead other people, you've got to know yourself. Who are you? What are you? What are your guiding values? Where do you want to go? What are your goals? Along with that, once you are working with other people and in a more quote unquote formal leadership role, the thing for me, there are four big traits involved. Any good leader needs to be visible, approachable, connected, and consistent. And then we can talk about that, or we can go anywhere you want, given that quick overview.
Mr. Ron Rick, very well said. Beautifully articulated. What are the top three traits you believe every effective leader must have?
I said I think they need to know themselves really well. And what I mean by that simply, leaders need to know what their strengths are. They need to know what their limitations are. They need to be comfortable articulating, talking about their strengths with people, and being humble enough to let them know, it's like, hey, there are some things at which I'm good, folks, and these are a couple of them. And for me, I can say proudly, and I hope it comes across as confident and proud, not arrogant. A couple of my strengths, I am a good facilitator. I know how to present material. I ask good questions, and I can generate good discussion with groups. And and again, given that the just the title of the podcast, Daniel, the book's 101. I am a voracious reader, and one of the reasons that's a strength of mine is because it allows me to be a good resource to other people. I can make book recommendations to people. I can pull information that I've read from books over the years and share it with people. And that it's a strength of mine and it helps me enormously. Hand in hand with that, leaders also need to know what their limitations are. And I'm totally open with my strengths. I am also completely open with my limitations with people as well. A couple of things at which I'm not that good. I'm not strong technically. I never have been. I never will be. I can do the basics, of course I can. I can navigate through, PowerPoint and Word and fine. If something goes wrong technically when I'm doing a session, I need to ask for help. I know that. I'm comfortable with that. I mean, I don't like it when I have to accept. It's just that I'm not strong technically. I'm also not a real strong writer. I tend to struggle putting the proverbial pen to paper. And so, when I write an article, if I write a coaching summary or whatever it might do, I'm very fortunate because my wife is an excellent writer, and so she helps me to edit for content, uh, content grammar, and just everything. And I know that about myself, and I'm open with people. So I can make myself vulnerable, which I think is another key trait to being a good leader is just being vulnerable.
Very well said again, Mr. Ron. Very well said. Can leadership be developed or it's something you're born with?
Daniel, for me, it's both. And I really believe that because if people are simply, some people have said, oh, you're a born leader. If that's true, then there's no need for anybody who does what I do for a living. So it's like, yeah, I think we're all born with some inherent leadership traits. Additionally, it can absolutely be developed because there are all kinds of different skills, different things that where leaders need to improve. And that's where the training and the coaching comes into play. So I believe it's a mix of both.
Let's talk about the core traits and successful leaders, Mr. Ron. Why is emotional intelligence such a critical trait in leadership?
Emotional intelligence is probably one of the most important traits any leader can have. And it goes back to, at least for me, Daniel, what we were just talking about the self awareness piece of knowing who you are, and what your guiding values are, knowing your strengths and your limitations. In addition, realizing that I've got to be aware of things that trigger me or things that can trigger me emotionally and to help to regulate myself. I mean, I'm fond of using what I call the PRD method. If I'm emotional, I always try to pause, reflect, and then decide how am I going to handle this rather than just reacting right away emotionally, which can, where I might say something I might regret, I can do something that can damage a relationship. So that's a key piece to emotional intelligence. Apologizing when I'm wrong is another big part for me, and I'm very comfortable with that. And leaders need to be able to do that. Everybody makes mistakes. It goes back to the vulnerability we just talked about, and that when I make a mistake or when a leader makes a mistake, it is so important to just very simply, hey, I was wrong. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. This is how I will correct it, whatever it might be. Empathy is another key piece to emotional intelligence. Understanding others, having the ability to ask questions so that I can understand where you're coming from. Daniel, what concerns you about this deadline? Just as an example. What am I missing here, Daniel? I want to understand you. The next part of empathy is caring. And what I always ask people to do in a coaching session or in a training session is please think about the things about which you care at work. And they'll come up with 8, 9, 10 things. I care about results. I care about quality, safety, my coworkers, and again, whatever it might be. And then I simply ask, what are the possibilities of satisfying everybody, everything on that list simultaneously of the things about which you care. And everybody says you can't do it. And I was like, that's right. That's exactly right. You can't please everybody all the time. And that's another key piece to leadership is realizing I need to make difficult decisions. I need to have difficult conversations with people. And yet ideally, they're not going to be tremendously difficult because I've asked the questions. I want to understand you. These are the things about which I care, and it's off of that that I make my decision and take the appropriate action, which is the last part of empathy. So, I mean, that's just all of that is emotional intelligence for me, which is absolutely a key piece to any leader being successful.
Mr. Ron, how do great leaders balance confidence with humility?
I think, Daniel, again, I'm going to circle back again. Knowing yourself extremely well. I'm very comfortable letting people know, hey, this is what I believe the answer to this is, or this is my opinion on this particular subject, whatever it might be. Balancing that with, if I don't know something, I am completely comfortable saying to people, I don't know. I don't know that. And I think really where I'm going is I think that the key thing is no leader can be a know-it-all because nobody knows everything. And when you don't know or if you're unsure, it's just letting people know, hey, you know what? I'm not an expert in this area. I'm not sure how we should proceed or whatever it might be.
So let's talk about the behavior and mindset, Mr. Ron. How do mindset and personal values shape a person's leadership style?
Daniel, I'm sorry. Can you ask me that again, please?
How do mindset and personal values
Okay.
shape a person's leadership style?
Mm. I think it's a huge part. For me, I'll speak for myself here. My values being I want to be honest with people, I want to be upfront with people, I want to develop people, and that's a big way, or that's a big factor in my leadership style, and it's one of the biggest reasons it's what I do for a living because I love developing people, and that whatever someone's mindset is, it needs to be consistent so that the people with whom they're working understand this is what Ron is all about, or this is what Daniel is all about, and then we can work most effectively within your values and my values.
How can leaders cultivate vision and inspire others to follow it?
I think one of the big things for me here is involving as many people as possible in the vision so that it is not just my vision, for an organization or for a department, again, whatever it might be. I think the more people you can involve in it, the more buy-in you're going to get. Now, yes, absolutely, I have a certain vision, and there are some things I'm going to want for my organization, no doubt about it. Except again, If all I'm going to worry about or all I'm going to concentrate on are my needs or my vision, I'm not convinced you're going to get a lot of buy-in from your other colleagues. I'm just not. The more people that are involved in it, the more buy-in, the more support you'll have for that vision.
Indeed, Mr. Ron, indeed. How do you coach leaders to handle failure or criticism constructively?
One of the biggest things is to let people know up front. Number one, mistakes are okay. And I mean that. I really, really do. It is okay to make mistakes. I'm not necessarily hoping you'll make mistakes. They're inevitable. That's okay. One of the key things here, whenever a mistake occurs, and it will, there's no doubt about it. Listen, let's talk about it. We'll go, I'll give you some behavioral feedback about what happened, and ideally, what we can do is collectively or together figure out a solution so that it doesn't happen again. And really, where I'm going with the whole thing, mistakes are okay because that's where I have learned the most in my career are the mistakes that I've made. I've made my share, absolutely. The key is let's not repeat the same mistakes over and over because that becomes a problem.
Mr. Ron, as a leadership management development, what will be your short term and long term goals?
Well, I'm sorry, Daniel, what will
What will be your short term and long term goals as a leadership management development?
short term, I want to help people with whatever concerns they have, whatever issues they have that are on the table right now. Long term, I want to get to know the people. I want to get to know my clients, and I want to get to know the people with whom I'm working really well. What are their long term goals, and how can we together work towards them? So that we are addressing problems real time, yes. And ideally, as we address these problems real time, we are working towards the ultimate goal, which we have to both have in mind, so that we know we're making progress towards that end goal.
Good luck to your goals, Mr. Ron, and looking forward for more success in your profession. And what will be your advice for those people out there who want to be a leader in their communities or whatever they are doing?
Daniel, I'll go back to the first thing I said. Anybody that wants to be successful in anything they do, get to know yourself on a really, really deep level. What are your values? What are your strengths? What are your limitations? Be humble. Ask for help when it's necessary. And for me, that's one of the best pieces of advice I've gotten over the years.
Mr. Ron, what are the some warning signs that someone may lack key leadership traits?
I think some of them, Daniel, is believing the leader believing I have to have all the answers. I have
Yes.
to have all the answers. And if I don't know the answer to a question, that's unacceptable. That's a warning sign to me. I think another warning sign is answering all the questions that a leader is asked. Rather than coaching, they will answer the questions. And that's a big warning sign for me, too, because that means very few people organizationally are going to be growing.
Mr. Ron, how do you help leaders navigate imposter syndrome or self doubt?
I am such a big believer in very simply preparing. Is just prepare, prepare, prepare. The more prepared you are, the better you will be for whatever it might be. If you need to practice a tough conversation with somebody, if you need to even just practice a coaching session with somebody, if you need to practice a presentation, whatever it might be, over the years, Daniel, that is something that has helped me enormously overcome imposter syndrome and just facing difficult situations, just preparing, role playing with with a trusted colleague, something along those lines has been enormously helpful for me.
What's one trait that is often overlooked, but it's a vital for long-term leadership success?
Oh, I'm gonna say relationships. And I say that because leadership is all about developing solid relationships with people. And again, the better you know people, the more effectively you will work with them. That's a proven fact. And I think a lot of leaders lose sight of that. I think a lot of leaders look in, just believe it's all about results. We got to get results. Where, what are the numbers and how are we doing? What's revenue and everything else? And losing the sight that it's about the people. It is all about the people.
Yes, indeed, it's all about us. So, Mr. Ron, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do visit my book 101 merchandise, because on Book 101 review, we believe read it, wear it, live it. That's the Book 101 way. If you're looking for mag or any kind of sweatshirt, we are here to present to you on Book 101 merchandise. So please do visit
Okay.
because we have it all on Book 101 merchandise. Mr. Ron, if someone wants to become a better leader starting today, what's the first trait they should be focused on?
Yeah, I'm going to go back. Build relationships. Build relationships with people. Get to know people personally. Get to know people professionally. What are you all about as a person? And once you have that relationship established, results will follow. That has just been my experience over and over.
Interesting indeed, Mr. Ron, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your leadership management development?
Yeah, I mean, the best way to reach out to me, Daniel, is through LinkedIn. Just my site, Ron Reich, Reich, RLB Training and Development is the name of my company, and I will gladly chat with anybody.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Ron Reich, because if you support him, more and more and more empowering leader to come. So, Mr. Ron, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Daniel. Nice to be with you.
More to come, people. See you soon.